You're listening to the 3 Feet Radio Show with Ben Carbonaro and Luke Herbert. From our studios come special guests and netball commentary, exclusively on YouTube.
Welcome, listeners, and welcome again to the 3 Feet Radio Show. Joining me in the studio today is my co-host, Luke Herbert. G'day, Luke. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been too long while our studio has been brought up to the building codes in our local area, but why don't you get us underway, Ben?
I will, and joining us today is England international and new Adelaide Thunderbirds signing in defender Eboni Beckford-Chambers. Hi, Eboni. How are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you guys doing?
Very well, thank you. Just to get things going, first of all, what were the reasons behind your decision to move from Perth, the West Coast Fever, to the Adelaide Thunderbirds?
Having been at West Coast Fever, I had 3 really good seasons there, and but finals had eluded me. So I think once I had spoken to Jane Woodward-Thompson, and she was obviously interested in me coming to the Thunderbirds, it's a club that has like a deep history of success, and I thought that a new challenge is what I wanted, and a move to Thunderbirds is what I did.
You mentioned Jane Woodward-Thompson. She's obviously the most experienced coach in the ANZ Championship. Are you looking forward to working under her, Eboni, when you start playing for the Thunderbirds next year?
I really am, and I think that was one of the major parts of my decision. She's a formidable coach and technically one of the best in the competition. Quite a lot of the players who have come here, like Renee Hanlon and Erin Bell, have thrived under her tutorship, and I hope that she can have the same effect on my game and also improve my goal defense as well as my goalkeeping role, and hopefully make that final there.
And just while we're staying with the ANZ Championship, it must be great to have, for English netball, to have one of your national teammates in Serena Guthrie playing for the Northern Mystics in next year's comp. So, how do you feel about that?
Oh, Serena is so excited. I think, having just been on tour with her for the last 5 weeks, I can't tell you actually how excited she really is. She's like a natural talent. She's a ball winner. She's a go-getter. And I think she's going to add something really, really different to this competition. So I'm so pleased for her. Obviously, we'll be major competitors when we play the Mystics against her. But no, I'm really pleased for her, and I'm looking forward to what she adds to the competition.
And obviously, one of your Thunderbirds teammates will be Kate Shimmin. She's definitely a defender of the future, having played for the Fast 5 Flyers Australia in the Netball World Series, and she's played for the Australia at under 21 level too. And I think she might have been to a couple of Australian squad camps. So obviously, a promising defender you're looking forward to working with.
I really, really am. I'm really kind of looking forward to working with all the defenders. I think Amy Steele's, and then she's represented the Diamonds before, as well as Sam Pullman. And I think there's a quite eclectic mix in the defensive end for the Thunderbirds this year. I think I'm looking forward to trying to practice the Shimmin lift. And I'm also just looking forward to working with Amy because she's quite a range defender, and Sam as well at the back. So I think there's lots of options, which is always good to have, and hopefully we're going to be like a formidable defensive unit and turn over lots of ball this season to contribute to the rest of the team.
And just switching gears here, away from netball, you work as a lawyer. Could you please tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, I think I've been fortunate enough to complete my law degree, and I did a master's in commercial law. So hopefully one day when I transition out of netball, I'll go on and rejoin the legal field. So just while I'm training at the moment, I do some part-time paralegaling, and I think I have both a passion for netball and for law. I think I really enjoy studying law. So I think once my career is over, that will be where I'm heading. But it's good to kind of have another backup.
Well, being able to combine that paralegal work with your netball, Eboni, do you think it's a good way to sort of take your mind off the pressures of being a professional sports person?
It is a good way. I think it gives you a different stimulus, and it's good to know that there's life outside of netball, and because sometimes it can be wholly consuming. So it really does give me some relief from the netball court, and allows me to think about a different area of life. And I think sometimes you just need that refreshment and that kind of reality check away from the court. But so when you come back to the court, you're actually as fresh as you can be.
Just before we return to your netball career, which is actually the focus of this interview, is there any aspects of law that particularly interest you? So, corporate law or criminal law, for instance?
I'm definitely interested in corporate law the most. I think I was fortunate enough to work for a firm in Perth when I was playing with the Fever, and I was able to get an insight into like the mining regulation and also some of the pro bono work with the Aboriginals. So it was a great insight into like the culture over here and a different aspect of law that I wouldn't necessarily study at home, but definitely from a corporate focus. I really, really enjoy that.
And just looking at the Netball Super League back at home in England, what are your memories of playing for Team Bath? Team Bath obviously are one of the better performed teams in the history of the Netball Super League, Eboni.
I know. I think Team Bath will always have like a special place in my heart. I think I've had so much success with that club and that team and in that franchise that it'll always hold a special place in my heart. I think the Super League back home has definitely evolved over the last couple of years with quite a lot of overseas players actually going over there to play in the league. And from year on year, it's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So Team Bath, I think they've got a formidable lineup this year. And I think between them, Manchester Thunder and Surrey Storm, it could be anybody's title.
And just before we leave the Super League, can you outline to the Australian and New Zealand listener the gap that exists between the improving Super League and the ANZ Championship in terms of the standard of the netball played?
Yeah, I think the gap is definitely lessening. I think obviously the ANZ holds the best players in the world, especially from Australia and New Zealand, and the best players in terms of the imports that each team can garner. But the Super League, I think it's definitely growing. It has done, I think, having had the win over Australia in 2013 and some other really good successful results internationally has definitely raised the profile of the game. And I think year on year, the standard of the Super League is definitely being raised. And it still has a long way to go in terms of building that standard, but there's definitely significant improvements from at least even 5 years ago.
And obviously, coming off a pretty good series in New Zealand, you've got the 3 tests coming up against Malawi. Malawi is certainly very unpredictable. They play an unorthodox style, but they certainly have plenty of flair when they play. And of course, probably their most famous export is M.Y. Kumwenda, who plays in the ANZ Championship.
I know. I'm really excited about the Malawi Test series. We haven't actually played them at home in a while. So, I've seen some of their players at Fast 5. I think the amount of flair and athleticism and like accuracy that their shooters bring to the court is actually something that we definitely have to be aware of. But coming off a win in New Zealand is obviously a really good confidence boost for us. I think in general, it was quite an emotionally and mentally and psychologically tough tour. But I think the win over New Zealand and some of our ending performances in Fast 5, I think is what we'll take into the Malawi Test series and onto the Jamaica series in the beginning of the new year.
And just before we wrap up, how did you find working with stand-in England captain Jade Clark as a deputy during the recent Commonwealth Games and other recent internationals?
Jade is a fantastic captain. I think she's one of those like quiet achievers in terms of she gets on court and she works tirelessly just to make sure she contributes to the team. And she's such a fantastic captain, not only like on the court but off the court, and one that is very much respected by all the players and staff. So working alongside Jade has been absolutely fantastic. I think you don't really have to do much because she's so like calm, controlled, and has everything in hand. So I think going into this World Champs year, I think it will test her leadership skills to the hilt, as we really are obviously aiming for that gold medal at that final World Champs. But I actually love working alongside her, and hopefully one day, if I'm lucky enough to be a captain, either at international level or at club level, hopefully I can just do half as good a job as she does.
All right, Eboni, thanks very much for joining us. Hope things are going okay with your looking around Adelaide. I've seen on social media you're enjoying it, and hopefully we will catch up with you once the ANZ starts.
Cool, no problem. Thanks very much.
You've been listening to the 3 Feet Radio Show with Ben Carbonaro and Luke Herbert. Tune in next time for more special guests and netball commentary exclusively on YouTube.